video, I'll introduce you to the foundational concepts of organizational behavior, or what we often call OB, which is basically the study of how individuals and groups behave within organizations. By understanding organizational behavior, we can then apply various psychological, sociological, and management principles to improve workplace productivity and create positive organizational environment. If you like business and management, but you're also excited about psychology, then you're going to love OB. This video is going to cover what OB is, how it's studied, the key outcomes of OB, and why organizations that excel in OB tend to be more successful. First, let's talk about what is organizational behavior. OB is a study of how people behave within organizations. It's a field that, as I mentioned, it blends psychology, but also sociology, and management and business principles to kind of understand the holistic picture of human behavior in work settings. The goal with OB is to apply this understanding to improve organizational effectiveness, which makes workplaces more productive and positive for everyone involved. Next, let's talk about the scientific study of OB and how we know what's what in OB. The scientific study of OB involves systematic research to gather evidence about how people act in different organizational contexts. It's not like, oh, this is just common sense. Although a lot of things you learn in OB, it might sound like common sense. But we don't know this stuff because of intuition. We know it because of research. Researchers in organizational behavior use a variety of proven scientific methods, including surveys, experiments, case studies, to test theories about behavior in organizations. These studies help us identify patterns and relationships between different variables, such as how leadership styles impact employee motivation, or how workplace culture might influence job satisfaction. Science tells us these things. It's not just stuff that we know or makes sense, but it's science. Next, let's talk about the major outcomes studied in OB. And this is really important. If you take nothing else away from this particular video, I want you to know this. When we study organizational behavior, we often focus on two major outcomes. This is why we study OB. Those two outcomes are job performance and organizational commitment. Job performance refers to how well employees do their jobs, while organizational commitment is about how dedicated they are to the organization. Both of these outcomes are really important because they can obviously directly affect the overall success of the organization. High job performance and strong organizational commitment usually lead to better productivity, lower employee turnover, and a much more positive work culture and environment. Now let's talk about why it is that organizations that are good at organizational behavior tend to be more profitable. Organizations that excel in OB, we know this through science, tend to be more profitable and successful. Why? Because they get it. They understand how to leverage human behavior to create a competitive advantage. When their employees are motivated, satisfied, committed, dedicated, they are so much more likely to contribute to an organization's success. Think of a job that you've had in the past. If you didn't really feel loyal to the company, you didn't really care, you're not going to go hard at your job. Effective OB practices lead to higher productivity, better quality of work, and increased innovation. All of these things obviously contribute to the bottom line. Now let's understand correlations and their relevance. This is the science stuff, right? Understanding correlations is also crucial in OB. A correlation is very simply a statistical measure that describes the relationship between one variable and another. For example, ice cream sales skyrocket in the summer because it's hot and people like ice cream, which is cold. A very basic correlation. Now, in organizational behavior, there might be a correlation between employee satisfaction and job performance. However, it's important to note, correlation does not imply causation. That's a fancy term, but basically what that means is just because two variables are correlated does not mean that one variable causes the other. Shark attacks also spike during the summer. That's correlated with summer. You can simply say then that ice cream sales are correlated with shark attacks. That might be the case, but the two are not related to each other at all. It's the fact that it's summer, it's hot. People are not only eating more ice cream, but they're also swimming in the ocean and therefore more likely to incur a shark attack. So just because two variables are associated or correlated, again, it doesn't mean that one causes the other. Understanding correlations helps managers make informed and smart decisions, but it's also essential to consider other factors and evidence before drawing conclusions.